Hello, hello, everyone. How is it going? Happy Friday. We are here with our Friday session talking all about why having more fun with your food can actually be a fantastic way to create a healthier relationship with food, too. Let me explain. First and foremost, what is your relationship with food? This is a really important question to first consider because, and this may be totally unbeknownst to you, we've all been conditioned in the society to grow up thinking that, to be skinny, to be on a diet is really the epitome of health, of success, of perfection. And when we grow up in this particular way, it makes us think that if we want to be those things, we also need to be skinny. If we want to be successful, we need to be skinny. If we want to be healthy, we need to be skinny. If we want to be perfect, whatever that might mean to you, then we also need to be skinny. So when we really glorify this idea of being skinny, it actually makes us reconsider what food means to our bodies and to our health. With media and social media, it becomes really easy to see how other people react with food. And especially if you follow influencers and things like that, they're always talking about good foods, right? So if a salad is a good food, then they're eating it because it helps them to achieve their health goals, which also makes us think, well, to look like that, then I also need to be eating foods like them, such as salads, even if, for instance, they don't, for some reason, work for my body. So, this idea of adding these moral labels onto food, calling certain foods good or bad, can also help us to start thinking that we are either good or bad for eating those foods. And when we have these moral labels when it comes to food, it actually takes all of the joy, all of the pleasure, and all of the fun out of food. And as a result, it can feel like a chore, it can feel like an arduous task, it can feel like something that you're never going to be able to master in order to achieve the goals that you have in your life. And so that's why we're talking all about having more fun with food today. This is a really important concept and one that I have been teaching all of my clients about because it is really the next level of understanding what foods actually work for you. Because when you know that, you don't need to be bound by the societal conditioning that might be telling you that certain foods are good foods or bad foods, right? It really comes down to what foods work for you. So, how can you start having more fun with food starting right now, today? I have 3 tips for you that I wanted to share because they really are things that you can implement straight away. They are things that you can start using to help redefining what you want your relationship with food to be and make it truly be something that you're choosing versus something that you have been conditioned by from society, from other people in your life. Instead, let's make it a mindful choice that works for you. So, my first step is to obviously disconnect from those labels. Let's stop calling foods good foods or bad foods. If you've listened to the latest episode of my podcast or on my YouTube channel, I talk more about good foods and bad foods and why these labels are honestly things we need to stop saying when it comes to food because it is creating oftentimes a negative relationship with food. So, let's take off those labels. Let's take off also any labels that say that, like, if we eat certain kinds of foods, then that makes us a certain kind of person. So if we eat salads, that means we're, what do they call them? Like eating like a rabbit, or like where it makes us vegans or vegetarians. Like, let's just remove all of those labels that can really be quite diminishing in many ways, right? Foods don't have to have these moral labels or compasses. They are simply just food. And when we look at it in that perspective, it really helps to release some of the guilt, shame, negativity, anxiety, frustration, overwhelm, all of those things that often can become associated with food. Okay, so that's step 1. Remove those labels. The second one is to really focus on pleasure. So, when it comes to eating, oftentimes we think that if we're eating like naughty foods or treat foods, that that's the only time we can have pleasure from our food. And that's simply not the case. I love all different kinds of foods, whether they be salads and soups or chocolate cake, right? So, the key here is within every meal, find some way to really draw as much pleasure out of it as possible. I like to recommend using all five of your senses as you're eating. So, what do you taste first and foremost? What do you smell? What do you see? What do you hear? What does it feel like if you're using your fingers or a utensil? It's really important to understand how all of your senses play into this pleasurable experience of enjoying food. And also, what's really interesting is that pleasure can be obtained through your environment. So, who are you sitting with? Who are you talking to? Where are you? That actually adds so much to the experience of eating when we're making memories with the people or places that we're in. So, seek out as much pleasure as possible when it comes to food. My third tip is have more fun with your food. And what I mean with this is be adventurous. So, whether it is trying out new ingredients that you've never eaten or cooked with before, maybe it is even just cooking at home, cooking a recipe that you've never tried before. Perhaps it is trying a new cuisine or trying a new restaurant that you've always wanted to go to but haven't been yet. These are all great ways to really have more fun with your food. So grab your best friend, grab your partner, your kids, whomever, go out or cook with them here at the house and really relish in the experience of being adventurous. Because when we do that, it really helps to add more variety, more flexibility into the things that we're cooking and eating. And as a result, it really helps to add more fun into your food. So, those are my three tips to help you to create a more positive relationship with food and honestly to just have more fun with it. So, once again, those three tips are really disconnecting from all of the labels, especially the moral labels when it comes to food. The second was to focus on having as much pleasure as possible when it comes to your eating experience. And the third is to have more fun with food, be adventurous, try new things. Aim to incorporate one of these steps today, one of these tips today, because it really will help you to release those negative emotions when it comes to food and help you to start increasing the feel good factor when it comes to your food. So let me know in the comments what you're going to be trying out today. I love sharing these tips with people because I really do believe that our relationship with food and our bodies is so important. And so that is an act of cultivation. It is about being mindful about what we're thinking about food, what we're doing every day when we interact with food. And so this is the practice. And this is honestly just the beginning of the practice too. So if you would like to find out more, I encourage you to contact me for a free 20-minute consultation. I have 3 available for this upcoming week, and that's going to be a 20-minute consultation because we can dive into so many amazing things that will help you during those 20 minutes alone. So if you have any questions, let me know here in the comments. I would love to hear from you. And if you have any recommendations for me to talk about when it comes to nutrition, when it comes to intuitive eating, I would love to hear them. Okay, guys, have an amazing rest of your day. I will talk to you again very soon.